After a transfer to Dortmund, Joni Babooli has been adjusting to life in Germany. And as you can see, he's out running, out on the grind, as always, as usual. This man is determined to be the best footballer that he can be. And this whole time, every move in his career has been decided by one man named Joni Babooli, who has been nowhere to be seen. And you may be wondering, where has Joni Babooli been this whole time? This man has been out clubbing, out enjoying life, making all kinds of money as Joni Babooli's representative. All the while, Joni Babooli has no knowledge about any of it. He thinks he's out here making business moves. This man has been spending Joni Babooli's money on women, alcohol, drugs, cars, clubbing, luxurious watches and hotels and other things, all while Joni Babooli is striving to be the best football player. And Joni Babooli faces Feyenoord in match week 3 of the Champions League phase. And Had Musa passing it right to Mecca, who finds Brandt, and Mecca with the interception, finding Babooli with a flairful pass. And Joni Babooli making a run, and Mecca finding Babooli. Joni Babooli assessing his options with some skill moves. Joni Babooli laying it off for Chukwuemeka, who passes to Mecca, who passes to Babooli, who puts it past the keeper and does the Joni Babooli prance in the 42nd minute in the Champions League. A fantastic goal. And Tagaline crossing it in, and Haj Musa heading it in and bringing one back for Feyenoord late into the match, which sees Dortmund collect yet another point in the Champions League. And as you can see, we're still off to a poor start in the Champions League with only 2 points after 3 matches played. And as we head into match week 8 of Bundesliga, we face off against Frankfurt. And Burkhardt to Pellegrini. Larson passing it to Sarr. And Sarr with a beautiful lobbed pass over to Akuluche. And Akuluche to Larson. Larson laying it off for Pellegrini, who passes it to Burkhardt, who smashes it into the bins in the 9th minute of the match. And Dortmund off to a poor start. And we look to make things better in the 16th minute. But Burkhardt has other things in mind as he passes it to Bahoya. And Bahoya smashing it past the keeper, making it 2-0. And this match, let's just say, it was an absolute ass whooping. And I gotta tell you, Dortmund had no answers for Frankfurt, as they were just too brilliant on the day, as they went up 3-0 before the first half came to an end. And the second half, while I would like to think it did get better, Joni Babooli passed it over to Brandt. Brandt laid it off to Babooli. Babooli laying it off to Mecca, and Mecca with some skills, passing it to Babooli, who takes a brilliant touch past the defense and smashes it past the keeper. And Dortmund had hope in the 52nd minute. And Joni Babooli was struggling to grab the ball. Absolute head loss on Babooli's part. But just a few minutes later, Barco would find Larson, who laid it off for Chaibi. And Chaibi all but sealed the deal for Frankfurt. And in the 82nd minute, Frankfurt decided they would kick 11 men when they were down, as they scored a 5th goal in stunning fashion courtesy of Chaibi. And as you can see, life at Dortmund for Joni Babooli is not getting any better. His cousin is buried in ass, and Joni Babooli is playing like ass. 2 very different sides of the spectrum. As you can see, Dortmund sit in 9th place in the Bundesliga after 8 matches played. But now we head to the DFB Pokal, where we face off against RB Leipzig in round 1. And this was a match where we can get some revenge for losing the Franz Beckenbauer Super Cup. And Bakayoko passing it to Vermeeren. And Maximovic laying it off for Bakayoko. Maximovic on the ball once again. Passing it back to Bakayoko, who lays it off for Vermeeren. And Openda laying it off for Haidara, who smashes it in past the keeper. And things were not looking like they were going to go Dortmund's way tonight, as Hartmann passed it over to Romalu. And Romalu had his pass intercepted by Adeyemi, and Dortmund suddenly had some hope now. Brandt passing it over to Ekitike, and Mecca on the ball with some skills, and Mecca still on the ball, shielding the ball with all his life, passing it to Brandt, who passes to Ndoye. Joni Babooli with a brilliant run and a brilliant shot, bringing Dortmund back into the match with just 12 minutes left. And Dortmund suddenly had hope. And Openda would pass it off to Zaver, and Simovic to Vermeeren. And now, all to play for in this match. And as you can see, the start of extra time was indeed intense. And Amri Khan with a brilliant interception, but losing the ball immediately, and Romalu was through, passing it over to Openda, who smashed it in top bins and put Dortmund into the mud in extra time. And it's always him, it's always Openda busting Joni Babooli's balls, it seems, in this career mode. And here's Zaver on the ball now, passing it to Baumgartner, and Baumgartner passing it to Simovic, who crosses it, and Mecca unable to clear it out, and Joni Babooli unable to clear it out as well, and Baumgartner laying it off for Vermeeren, who has a shot, and Mecca now passing it to Babooli. Just seconds left in this match. Ekitike to Girasai. Girasai laying it off for Babooli. Ekitike through on goal. Can you believe it? Ekitike can't believe it. I can't believe it. I'm sure you can't believe it. And Joni Babooli with some techers, but losing the ball, and Harder getting brought down by Joni Babooli, who evades the yellow card, as Dortmund are knocked out of the DFB Pokal in absolutely heartbreaking fashion. And as you can see, the fans in Leipzig going crazy. Joni Babooli damn near in tears. And as we head into match week 9 of the Bundesliga, we face off against Mainz. And of course, there are no breaks here, as Joni Babooli is on the ball, misplaces his pass, but Mecca finds Joni Babooli. Joni Babooli getting past the defense, having a shot and scoring in the 44th minute of the match, and hitting the Joni Babooli prance. Bellingham passing it to Babooli, who finds Chukwuemeka. Joni Babooli back on the ball, getting past the defense. Joni Babooli still on the ball. Joni Babooli passing it over to Mecca, who smashes it into the bins and makes it 2-0. And Dortmund flying high. And could this be the turn that they needed? And Joni Babooli once again misplacing a pass. Kor passing it over to Hallerback, and Hallerback passing it to Ilinakena, and Ilinakena on the ball again. Back to Hallerback. Ilinakena with a shot. Kobo with a brilliant save. Sota on the ball. Sota passing it over to Hallerback, who salvages a goal but is unable to salvage a result, which means Dortmund collect the all-important victory and the all-important 3 points, which sees us remaining in 9th place in the Bundesliga. And as we head into match week 4 of the league phase in the Champions League, we face a tough trip to Anfield as we face off against Liverpool. And this match was an absolute dud until the 70th minute, when Militao passes to Marquinhos, who found Gravenberch, and Kenda back to Gravenberch. Kenda on the ball. Kenda unable to get past Mecca, but nonetheless, Kenda finding Nusa and putting Liverpool up 1-0 in the 73rd minute, and you can see the shock on Babouli's face. And Dortmund looked like they didn't have an answer for all but 2 minutes, until Joni Babooli found Chukwuemeka, who lobbed it over to Adeyemi, and Adeyemi turned, and Adeyemi found Joni Babooli, and Joni Babooli was not gonna miss from there. Not against the Scousers, not at Anfield, and not in the name of Borussia Dortmund. And with that goal, Joni Babooli was able to salvage a point for Dortmund, bringing our point tally to 3 points in the Champions League at the halfway point. And as you can see, we're not doing too hot. A playoff spot is all we can hope for at this point. But nonetheless, we must turn our focus over to Bundesliga, where we face off against Mönchengladbach. And as you can see, the intense matches in Germany just don't stop. And Højbjerg finding Kleindest, who finds Hack, and Hack with a brilliant shot, bouncing bar down past the keeper, putting Mönchengladbach up 1-0. An absolute thunder cunt of a goal, which Dortmund would not have a reply for until the 52nd minute, when Mecca passed it over to Joni Babooli, and Joni Babooli took a shot and was unable to get it past Nicolas. And Forster passing it to Bellegarde. Bellegarde unable to get the ball to his teammate, and Adeyemi finding Brandt. Joe Bellingham passing it to Joni Babooli, who does an elastico in the name of Ronaldinho. But Nicolas with the save, but Brandt is there to put it into the bins and bring Dortmund back into the match. A wonderful goal by Julian Brandt. And that sees Dortmund back in the match 1-1 in the 62nd minute. And Solet to Reina. Reina on the ball. And Mönchengladbach trying to provide a dagger. But Dortmund is able to defend it. And now Chukwuemeka passing it to Joni Babooli, who finds Ekitike. And Joni Babooli adjusting his run, passing it over to Ndoye. Ndoye continuing his run, smashing it past the keeper. And Dortmund find themselves up 2-1 at the 78th minute of the match. And a beautiful team goal by Borussia Dortmund, which sees Dortmund collect 3 points, which keeps Dortmund at 9th place in the Bundesliga after 10 matches played. And as you can see, our point tally being at 15 means we're only 5 points off the top spot. A very tight title race in the Bundesliga. And as you can see, we head into match week 11, where Dortmund hosts Sportverein Darmstadt. And Akiyama on the ball. And as you can see, it's cold as hell out here. And Lidberg passing it to Will. Will back to Akiyama. And Lidberg passing it over to Torsiello. Torsiello finding Wale Marek, who has a cross, but Mecca's there to deal with it. And Torsello passing it to Lidberg. Lidberg to Talvite, who lays it off for Torsello, who makes no mistake in scoring a brilliant goal and putting Darmstadt up 1-0 in the 7th minute of the match. And Darmstadt off to a hot start. And Torsiello on the ball. Torsiello still on the ball, getting past Babooli with ease. And Torsiello laying it off for Akiyama, who has a shot, but it's Lidberg there to put the rebound in the back of the net and put Darmstadt up 2-0. And in the 58th minute, Dortmund would finally have an answer for the hot start by Darmstadt. Just kidding. Babooli would get dealt with very easily. Bellingham would find himself on the ball. Joni Babooli passing it over to Chukwuemeka, who lays it off back to Babooli. Babooli on his left foot, smashing it past the keeper and bringing Dortmund back into the match with 30 minutes left. And as you can see, Babooli got rid of the yellow hair. Enough of the gimmicks, it's time to focus and lock in. And Babooli unable to dispose of the ball. And Will passing it to Arthur, who has a shot, and Kobel's unable to keep it out. And Darmstadt up 3-1. And in the 76th minute, Ndoye with the cross, and Mecca with the header. Akiyama with the clearance, with the help of his keeper. Babooli turning with the ball, smashing it off the post into the net. But too little too late, as Dortmund take the L and walk away with 0 points. Zilch, nada, nothing but fries in the bag for Dortmund, as we walk away still in 9th place in the Bundesliga. And as we head into match week 5 of the Champions League, Dortmund hosting Lech. And in the 52nd minute, and Mecca with a brilliant interception, finding Babooli. Joni Babooli with a brilliant pass to Chukwuemeka. Joe Bellingham lobbing it over, but Babooli unable to get the ball. Dortmund applying defensive pressure. Barnanski passing the ball to Ali. Ali turning, passing it right to Babooli. Ani Babooli on the ball now. Passing it over to Enmeka. Enmeka finding Ani Babooli. Ani Babooli having a shot, curling it into the back of the net. And Dortmund taking a 1-0 lead in the 57th minute. And can this be the first victory in our Champions League campaign? And Šimčák on the ball to Kozobal. Kozobal lobbing it over. And it's Lisman passing it to Agnero. And Agnero with a brilliant goal. And just 7 minutes left in this match for Dortmund to save our sorry-ass Champions League campaign. Ani Babooli on the ball. Ani Babooli still on the ball, assessing his options, finding Enmeka. Enmeka back to Ekitike, who finds Babooli, who finds the back of the net. Ball. And Dortmund collecting the all-important 3 points, which fires us up to 21st place in the Champions League table after 5 matches played with a total of 6 points. And as we head into match week 12 of the Bundesliga, Wolfsburg hosting Dortmund. And this match would get off to a ferocious start with Joe Bellingham finding Adeyemi, who found Babooli, who had it on his left and scored an absolute thunder-cunt banger of a goal. And he hit the Ani Babooli prance nice and early into the match. And Dortmund finding himself up 1-0. And Wimmer on the ball, passing it to Amora. Amora, pass intercepted and blocked by Schlotterbeck. Babooli, passing it to Chukwuemeka. Chukwuemeka, doing brilliantly to get the ball to Adeyemi. Ani Babooli creating some space with his skills, laying it off for Adeyemi, who has a free shot, and he's not gonna miss from there. And Adeyemi's goal gives Dortmund another 3 points in the Bundesliga, which sees us move up to 8th place. And into the match week 13 we go, where Dortmund hosts Hannover 96. And Bellingham would pass to Babooli, who laid it off for Enmeka, who had a brilliant shot past the keeper. And Dortmund with a 1-0 lead early in the match once again. And is the tide turning? Is Ani Babooli finally adjusting to his new teammates? Ani Babooli with more skills in the 23rd minute of the match, gliding past the defense, unable to score. And the keeper throwing it out, and it's Ndoye with the interception. Julian Brandt passing it to Enmeka. Enmeka on the ball. Enmeka passing it back to Babooli. Babooli with some skills. Babooli with a shot, getting past the keeper. And Dortmund find themselves up 2-0, courtesy of the gunman. And in the 36th minute, Taibi on the ball, getting stopped in his tracks by Enmeka. And Chukwuemeka passing it to Babooli. Babooli with a fake out on the defense, passing it back to Chukwuemeka. Babooli continuing his run. He's one-on-one with the keeper. He ain't missing from there. Ani Babooli making it 3. And the prancing man strikes once again. A wonderful goal by Ani Babooli sees Dortmund taking a 3-0 lead. And Neubauer passing it to Leopold. Taibi on the ball. Hannover trying to muster up a response. Chukwuemeka on the ball. Adeyemi passing it to Babooli, who takes a touch past the defense. Ani Babooli through on goal. Ani Babooli for a hat trick, and he completes it. Can you believe it? The prancing man collecting another 3 points and a match ball for Borussia Dortmund as we move up to 7th place in the Bundesliga after 13 matches played. You can see our point tally up to 21 points, and as you can see, Dortmund are beginning to move their way up the table, which is where we belong. And in the Champions League, Dortmund find themselves up to 21st place after 5 matches played. 3 matches remain, and as you can see, we have a big one against Manchester City. Can Dortmund continue this brilliant run of form that we seem to be experiencing? Only time will tell. That is where we will end today's episode. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Hit the bell so you don't miss the next one, and have yourself a great rest of your day.